Sometimes a friendship falls apart so badly, you don't even know if you can become friends again. And while not every friendship can be fixed, sometimes it's not too late. Today, we are going to talk about whether friendships can come back after a major fallout and what happens when they don't. First, let's talk about what can actually break a friendship apart. There are so many things that could break a friendship apart. One of them, I think, is betrayal. Did a friend somehow betray you by a word or an action or something like that that basically just hurt you to your core? And you thought to yourself, I cannot continue to be friends with this person. Did this person talk behind your back? Did they take an action behind your back? And you thought, wow, like that really hurt me. And I don't ever want to go through this again. Sometimes there could be built up feelings of resentment. There can be feelings of jealousy. There can be feelings of envy. All of these can affect a friendship. And maybe it was an argument. Maybe it was some type of confrontation. Maybe somebody said something in that heat of the moment that they cannot take back. And these are just a few examples of things that can eventually break a friendship apart, or a lot of times it potentially is going to be just one moment where there's a major fallout between friends that can damage that friendship, possibly forever. And sometimes after a while, or maybe immediately, it just depends on the situation and the friendship. You might think to yourself, I really want to try to reconnect with this person. I want to see if this friendship can come back from this fallout. Before you reconnect, take some time, be honest with yourself about what actually happened, and be prepared to speak to about how that made you feel. Again, was it a major fight? Was it a blowout? Something that was said? Was it something that was done? But make sure that in your mind you are clear on what the action or words were that hurt you, and that you are prepared to explain and clearly explain how they made you feel. Because sometimes people are going to remember things differently. And there is where you have to be open, listening, and hearing what this other person also has to say. Because we are all humans. Sometimes, a lot of times, we might interpret actions or words differently than another person. So you just have to be open and ready to understand what that person also has to say. And potentially, if you were the one that maybe did something to hurt someone else and you really want to try to see if this friendship can last and come back from this, then you probably have to be prepared to apologize if you totally understand what you said or did and how it hurt that person. And when you do attempt to reconnect with someone, just be honest about it. Let them know how much it hurt you. We're not attacking each other here. We're just sharing our feelings, feeling out to see, can this friendship actually be saved? And a lot of times, depending on what side of this conversation you're on, don't pretend like nothing ever happened, because that is shutting down your feelings. That's not being honest. And that, I don't think, is going to be beneficial to the friendship in the long run. If you both decide that this friendship can come back, it is most likely not going to look the same as it once did. Now, if this is a successful friendship and it lasts years and years or decades down the road, it might look the same in certain ways, right? Because friendships are always going to change. As we grow, as our lives evolve, friendships are going to change. But in this instance, I'm talking about, don't expect maybe the same closeness, the same laughter, the same deep conversations right away, the day or two after you decide with your friend that you guys both want the friendship back and that you're going to try to make this friendship work. Because trying to go back perfectly, that may not be a realistic goal. And especially for the person that was hurt by the action or the words or whatever it was, if that was like a one-sided hurt. But if it was a major blow up, going back perfectly probably is not going to be realistic for either one of you. Because now your dynamics have changed a little bit. And understand that rebuilding something like that can take time, right? There's going to be a little bit of, I don't know, uncertainty there right away. So just give it the time that it needs and the time that it deserves for the friendship to make its way back to where it used to be. And let's not forget, both people have to want this friendship to survive. If it is just one person doing all of the reaching out, trying to kickstart the conversations, trying to pull the other person in so that friendship will still carry on, this could lead to emotional exhaustion. And if the other person is just not interested in carrying on the friendship, that can be exhausting and hurtful to the one person who's trying to continually reconnect. Accountability matters in this situation. Being open with each other matters in this situation. But if one of the people is just not interested in having these conversations, maybe taking accountability or being open as to how they felt, maybe when something happened or during an argument or something like that, then now we're running into a little bit of a roadblock for this friendship to survive long term. Both people need to be willing to put the effort and the work in for the friendship to come back. And sometimes it's not too late, but it does take courage. Because no matter how close you were with that friend, being that person to reach out, being that person to break the silence, that might feel a little awkward at first. You might feel a little vulnerable at that time because you are the one reaching out saying, hey, can this friendship survive this recent setback? And honestly, the fear of rejection in this situation is absolutely normal for someone. Reconnecting with someone when you don't know what type of response you're going to get is emotionally risky, right? We're scared. We're not sure how it's going to be received. We're not sure if this person is going to be on the same page. And that's why sometimes it's just hard to make that first reach out and see if it can be fixed. That's why it takes courage to do so. No one likes to be on the receiving end of rejection. But if this friendship is very important to you and you really do want to bring it back and for it to continue, this is one of the times it's going to take some courage to be that first person to reach out. And sometimes you try and it still doesn't work. Sometimes maybe one of the parties, whatever happened, they are just unable to get over and move past it. We are all humans. There are certain things in life that affect us differently than others, and there's some things that we just can't move past. And sometimes when things like this happen, the friendship just doesn't recover from it. Sometimes anger and hurt can last a long time with some people. And if that's the case, and it's not possible to recover the friendship, it's okay to feel sad about that loss. It's okay to grieve the loss of that friendship. You might very well be a little bit angry too if the other person does not want the friendship to come back. And hopefully, over time, that anger or that hurt will soften a little bit. And hopefully, you can appreciate that friendship for what it was for you during that season of your life. Sometimes friends are only meant for a certain season of your life. And hopefully, if you experience this in a friendship and it doesn't recover, as time goes by, you can look back and remember the good parts of that friendship. Not that you should bury the bad parts too, because those for all of us are learning experiences. Sometimes friendships really do find their way back, but usually not without honesty, time, and both people being able and willing to put the effort in. Let me know if you've ever had a friendship that fell apart and somehow you found your way back to being friends again, or if you have tried to fix a friendship in the past, but the other person just was not open to that anymore. I'd really love to hear your experiences down in the comments. And if these kinds of conversations about friendship and everything that can come with it are helpful for you, I would love to have you subscribe and stick around. We will see you in the next one. Peace.